start small and work your way up, finding the dose that feels right for you. And then use it as needed. And that as needed is very much up to you. It might be a few times in an hour, and it might just be once a day. If you're using it to help you sleep at night, how many people are you going to use it to help them sleep at night? A few people. When you use it to help you sleep at night, of course, take it at night before you go to sleep, right? Breathe with that, so give yourself 10 minutes before you want to pass out and just lay down and breathe after you take your dose. But most people who are having a hard time sleeping at night, it's because they can't relax. And the reason they can't relax has to do with during the day and all the stresses that they've accumulated throughout that day. And they lay down and the head starts spinning, and what am I doing tomorrow, and on and on. And so in order to help yourself to sleep, I encourage you not just to use it at night, but to use it during the day as needed. The once a day is the at night. But the as needed is throughout the day when you realize that you're in a situation that might actually be contributing to your overall stress levels, that might be contributing to your inability to sleep. The other part of that, a lot of folks on medications to help them to sleep, or that this really could apply to anybody on any medication who wants to use CBD to try to maybe perhaps take less of that medication. CBD doesn't work like the medication. Okay, so the first thing is you can't just like stop taking the Ambient and expect the CBD to knock you out the same way. It won't. It doesn't work like that. Anytime that you're taking CBD to try to get off of a medication, work with your doctor. It's important. It's important for two reasons. It's important for your safety, number one. They will help you to wean off of that. If they won't, get another doctor. Okay, because that's their job, is to help you with your path of healing. And if that's your path, then they're going to help you. And they can do that. The second part is they let them know, because, you know, if they don't know, they can't help anybody else. And believe it or not, more and more doctors are actually very, very open to this. They want to know. And they're actually offering, we work with a lot of doctors as well who are very open to this. So, like, don't be afraid of that. The stigma's lifted. It's not something that you can't or don't want to hide from the doctor, but it's really a good idea to like take the time to wean slowly off of those medications while starting to use the CBD. Yeah, go ahead.
Two questions. Are there any side effects? And is it habit forming?
It is not habit forming whatsoever. It is not addictive. As a matter of fact, a whole lot of people use this with other addictions to help with the cravings and to help with the the withdrawal feelings, but also to help support that same system that sometimes is sort of like that, the how do I put it, the physical part that's happening chemically in our bodies, the dopamine that's being created specifically with CBD. It actually helps to balance out the neurotransmitter production, so that when we have an addiction, it's actually helping the body to heal from that addiction quicker. But mainly people use it, you know, for the withdrawals. And the second part of your question was side effects. The only side effect that I've ever really come across, honestly, is like when people are really overtired. Perhaps, you know, you've been really on adrenaline, you know, pushing it for days, and then I give somebody a dose, and all of a sudden they're like, it's not really going to make you drowsy typically, but it does help to relax. And if you're really pushing it on adrenaline, then when you start to relax, you're going to be kind of like that. So that, you know, and also in really, really high doses, sometimes people can start to feel a little bit, you know, overly relaxed, might be a good way of putting it. Yeah. Other than that, it's extremely safe thing. Yeah.
Just a question. So the CBD, there's no reaction if you're on any kind of medication. It's safe to take.
There are no known medications, and in all the years I've been doing this, and I can tell you, I've worked with a lot of people on a lot of medications. Nobody's ever said or reported any kind of, no. I'm just trying to really make sure I answer that as completely as possible. But yeah, there really isn't any side effects or any known interactions. There is, you may read about, there's some literature about liver enzyme that can be affected that's important with some medications, but when we're taking this sublingually and we are bypassing digestion, I don't believe that's even a concern. And so this is something where, again, administering it topically or sublingually, I believe, is really the best route all around. Yeah.
Well, I have a testimonial. Thursday I started using it.
Oh, yeah.
I came into Peggy's. And I've had a trigger finger and pre-arthritis in these 3 fingers for about a year. Okay, and if somebody could look at this, okay, I'm telling you, after 2 or 3 nights, I only took 2 to 3 drops. I couldn't believe it. I'm able to.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
No, with my tongue. Yeah.
But so, are you putting it on too?
No,
You may want to consider putting a couple drops on as well. So, you know, there's a lot of questions that I know you guys are dying to ask, but there's a few things that I really feel very strongly I want to get out to you before we go into full question mode. There are a lot of CBDs out there. There's a lot of options. I've been doing this a long time. I've kind of seen it all kind of come and grow and create. But there's one thing that hasn't changed and I don't believe will change. And this is a testament to if you guys have a chance to watch this little 4-minute video with Sanjay Gupta and Dr. Oz and the Consumer Labs guy, do it. Just so that you know what is being said and the mentality that is being presented. Because by the end of that, Sanjay Gupta was telling people to save their money until there's more science out. I mean, really, this was the guy. Anyway, they went up and down and back and forth, explaining to everyone watching how this industry is not regulated, how there's no way to know for sure that you're even getting CBD in the product that you're getting, and if you are, it's not enough to do anything, and on and on and on and on and on. They never once said, ask for lab work. 4 simple words. It took me less than a second to say it. Ask for lab work. That's all you have to do. Ask for lab work. If a company cannot provide you with lab work validating that the CBD is in there in the amounts that it should be, that the THC is below the legal threshold of 0.3%, and that there's no mycotoxins and no bacteria and no residual solvents and no pesticides, and I mean there's a lot of different things. There's 5 pages of testing. You guys have the information on the brochure. It says to please email info@truecbdhemp.com for your copy of the lab work. Now, I have done a lot of these seminars, and I have told people over and over and over again, don't just go run the bottle, buy the bottle just because I have a laminator and I'm flashing this stuff in front of you. Get on the device and actually see believe it or not, I want to train you guys. I want to teach you to be like the super smart CBD consumers. By the end of this, you will actually know more about CBD than most of the people trying to sell it to you. But this is probably the most important thing right here as far as how to validate, how to be sure. I love a pure product. It's 100% hemp, there's nothing else in there, and that's great. And that's a choice, and that's a choice you can make. There are a lot of products out there that have flavors. There's a lot of products that have, in capsules and gummies and you name it. I saw some chocolate candy thing over there recently. Like it's an onslaught of options, right? And that's a good thing. But the one thing that I don't believe is an option is to validate. Because the CBD, there are a lot of people trying to jump into the world of now growing hemp and providing the raw material. We have been working exclusively with the same Kentucky growers since we started doing it. Well, since we switched to using U.S. grown hemp, and those, I mean, it's a very tight-knit situation, and so we're very blessed to have that. But there's a lot of CBD on the market that you can't get this for. And if you can't get the lab work, then they don't even know what they're selling you. They're just getting that on somebody else's word, that's on some certification, but it's not even legitimate. So if you can't see this for your own eyes, please hesitate and ask the questions. Because what's ultimately being The energy that the government is sort of putting towards this is trying to make it so that manufacturers are afraid to put CBD on the label. I want you to understand this. If the manufacturers don't put CBD on the label, then they don't have to test for it. And if they don't have to test for it, then the cost is going to go down significantly. This is the greatest piece of overhead that a company like TrueCBD has, is the testing, every batch. So, if you see 2 products on the shelf, one expensive, one not expensive, and you think, well, why would I pay so much more for it? I'm going to tell you. I keep picking this thing up. But this is why. So, you know, if you can get the lab work, you're golden. But if you can't get that, then please, please, please understand that it's oh yeah, this is Proverde Labs in Massachusetts. They're one of the best.
Lab altogether, right?
That's correct. Third party, nothing to do with us at all. No. We've been working with them a long time. They were up and coming back when we started. We got to meet them at a show we did, and so back in 2013, you couldn't just send a bottle of CBD through the mail because it wasn't, no one knew if it was legal or wasn't legal, and so at that time, I had a lot of people coming to me with little bottles and saying, can you get this tested for me, because I'd like to see what this, and I can tell you almost every time it came back with no CBD in it at all. And I mean, this is going back many years, but this is still happening. And so, to be fair to the Consumer Labs guys and the Sanjay Gupta and all these folks, they do make a fair point, which is, you gotta be careful, because there's a lot of junk out there, and it's hard to know what you're getting. But the one thing they didn't say that really annoyed me is, you can know if you just ask for the lab work. Instead, what they said is, we should probably talk to our doctor about it and wait for it to be regulated. So I just, you know, sort of a buyer beware thing, and also a sort of a bigger picture awareness of the situation of what's happening. One day in the future, you may not be able to find products that say CBD on them. I highly doubt it, but if that does happen, this is your only hope after that.
Does this company make prescription grade product as well?
No, you don't need a prescription for it, and the
None of
only
your products are prescription grade.
well, we work with a lot of doctors that prescribe it, but you don't need a prescription for it. So prescription grade is a term that
Stronger, I'm guessing stronger, over the 0.3%.
Yes, prescription in the reason that would be medical marijuana.
It wouldn't be
Yes.
CBD, it would be medical marijuana.
That's correct. Yep. Yes.
Are you looking at me?
I thought you had it.
I did have my hand up. I have a question. There is a lot of states that it's